I'm not having for you. I said it okay. He was on telly this morning because I'm famous. You know? Usually I don't do suits. You know? And actually, that reminds me. Let me take this off. Yeah. Now looking at the readiness of the market. Coming back to this, you're having Butterfly as a delivery device. Where are my creative Kenyans that when they go out of Kenya are creating companies out there which are top-notch, which are having the latest ideas? Where are they here? Are they the same guys that are on the blogs constantly complaining that something has to change for change to happen? Right? I mean, I think Obama talks a lot about change. He has not brought a lot of change. I voted for Hillary, by the way. I didn't vote, but I would have voted for Hillary. I like the lady. She has gone through I mean, Hillary has gone through a lot, so you have to give it to her. Listen. And she's still married to the guy. Yeah? If you want somebody to bring peace, and you know that she's still married to him, then who should you vote for? But that's a different story. So, but you know, he said something that is valid. The change can only happen if you are the change. If you continue complaining, I'm lecturing since 2004 about the silver bullet. I was in Mombasa. I had an illegal connection to an ISP called iKenya, yes. I had hacked more or less their router and I had access to their bandwidth manager. So I had a very good connection for nothing, literally. Very nice, cool. But you know, all jumbo net and all bullshit, what was going on, not good. So when I was getting the job at KDN, I didn't even know what KDN is doing, to be very honest. I was giving the job, like, you know, Kai, we need somebody to run this company, can you do it? Okay. Well, what are they doing, by the way? No kidding. So I started here, and then I looked, and then I listened, of course, to all my staff and all the ISPs, and they said, you know, we thought when telecom is not the only ones giving us last mile, the market will explode. So I said, and why didn't it? Yeah, you know, the gateways are still going through JumboNet. Okay, good. So what did we do? I applied with all those lease lines. You know, those days KDN had still to apply to CCK for all the lease lines. Before we were allowed to provide our own lease line, we had to send an application. So we sent, I think, 400 applications at once to Telkom to provide us lease lines between all funny little towns and cities and municipalities. And one of the applications was Busia, Kenya to Busia, Uganda. People like this. Of course, Telkom, because they were so efficient in the service they were providing, forgot to look at the papers we sent them. You know? After a few weeks, I sent the same letters to the regulator saying, I'm really sorry, Telkom obviously seems not to be interested in providing us the services. Correct? This was how it worked those days. So then the regulator wrote back to me and said, if Telkom is not interested in providing service, you are allowed to self-provision, which we happily did. We put a point-to-point microwave across the border, Busia to Busia. We made very sure that we offered to SANE, or those days Celtel, the One network, to allow them cross-border because they didn't have an international license. And we wrote to the regulator and say, how are we now dealing with this link between Busia and Busia, by the way? Because it's crossing the border. Here's the approval, here's crossing the border. This is where we got the gateway licenses, if you guys don't know the history. So this is how gateway licenses more or less came about. Because it had to happen, we just helped to speed up the problem. Then January 2005 we got a gateway license, we put it on the roof, we got New Skies, NSS7, super quality, $2,800, ISP Kenya was my first customer, if I recall right. Intersat was our partner for the gateway. So from $12,000 JumboNet diluted bandwidth, you went to $2,800, isn't it? I mean, you guys told me that JumboNet bandwidth is diluted. We were not an ISP, we were not interested in JumboNet. We did nothing with them. So from 12 to 2.8, what happened in the market? Oh, my customer, I can give you 10%. You know, something happened in the market. Nothing happened. Honestly, nothing happened. Suddenly there was a diversity of gateways, there was redundancy of the networks, and what did happen in the market? No explosion. You're saying, yes, we had a 40% growth in uptake of capacity in this country. 40%, guys, if you're starting at a base of literally 0 is nothing. 1,000% you can argue with me. Going from 1 to 10% penetration, I would argue. But going from 1 to 3% or 4%, now you can argue the figures, of course. In 2005 to 2009, we have failed. And I include myself. You know, I'm talking as a private person, and I include myself as Canadian. We have somehow failed, isn't it? Something we have done wrong. The explosion did not happen. So what was the next excuse? The next excuse was, hey, we don't have fiber through the country. I said, oh, wait a minute, guys, I'm digging fiber. Unfortunately, the government then decided, because I started digging, they have to start digging as well, which is always a little bit of an ego issue, but at least we got fiber through the country. I was not even ready with the fiber, had not even issued the first offer. People already told me that I'm too expensive because I have a monopoly on fiber. You know who I got screwed up and signed was Celtel and Safaricom. I got the big operators to sign with me on something that saved them money on frequency fees, which today is way too expensive, but they allowed me to incubate my network. The guys who are your enemies, now strictly spoken as the small operators, which you are not supposed to be small as ISPs and as the ASPs in the market, the leaders of information technology which are sitting here, you guys push the responsibility of signing up big contracts to the guys who you should fight to the bone, to be very honest. To the guys who inevitably will eat your business. That's what I call the silverback economy. Everything gravitates to the guy with the silverback who is the strongest anyway. No matter what he says, it's good, because I'm trusting him more. I put all my load into him. It's either the government or it's the big operator. It's a dangerous game, because the same guys that were not willing to commit very early are the same guys that will later on complain that other people had the first mover's advantage. Right? You see, I'm not a big fan about complaining about UMTS licensing fees. The lobbying should have happened in 2005. UMTS is not a new technology. Not after Safaricom has paid $25 million, has made a business case out of it, at least they say so. I still don't understand why somebody who makes so much money needs to borrow money all the time. But that's something which you discuss internally.
I just have one or two points to make. I'm quite enjoying the debate that's going on.
We have plenty of time. Huh?
Yes. Now, there is something that you have said that actually has caught my attention. One is that you say that the private business are there just for the money and nothing else, and you are getting more money, forget about anything else. Then
you misquoting me. Let me just correct you. I said, no private company has the luxury not to think about how to make money, because the shareholders, which are again you guys, the shareholders sooner or later will demand a return. Many decisions in a business are strategic. If you look at an infrastructure company, my decisions are minimum 3 years. I'm not living in today. My team is living in today. I'm living at least 3 years ahead, 5 years ahead, 20 years ahead. I wouldn't cough $20 billion on a Fibre Garissa whatsoever if I wanted my returns tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely, I hear you, I understand that argument. And that is now what puts the pressure on the big business and our corporates, starting with a small ISP that won't lower its price. Because I think the problem with the ISP is that they are city-based ISPs, they don't get that going into the rural areas. They have always been like that. That's a business model they know. And hence the 81% of Kenya's internet has been in Nairobi, as studies reveal. So essentially that has to change. Somebody has to change it, like you say, but we can't just sit and wait for the big bang to happen again. It happened a long time ago. Now, the problem I have with your earlier statement is to say that the constitution needs to be changed in order for the PS to say that it's going to regulate the market. I think it's not true, because it's very clear in the Kenya Communications Act, section 23 and 47, that the CCK is supposed to protect consumers against high prices charged. To contrast this point, I want you to imagine a monopoly, private monopoly or public monopoly or government monopoly, charging 1 million shillings for 1 MB.